To slop or not to slop? 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to episode 287 of the Shower Podcast, the podcast where I'm in my shower and you do you. I'm your host, Chip, and today's topic is one that's been echoing in my mind since the moment I started thinking, to slop or not to slop? That is the question. It's, of course, a play on Shakespeare's most famous question. But in 2025, this is the question we all need to ask ourselves at some point, because we are entering a new era. Before we start, as usual, if you end up liking this episode, remember that liking and subscribing really mean a lot for me. They're just one click, but they really, really make the difference. Thank you very much for considering. And given the episode, this content is completely done by a human, so you might appreciate it. Let's start from here. What do we mean by slop? Originally, it was internet slang for any low-quality, mass-produced content. But now, with AI models like Sora 2, capable of generating full cinematic videos in minutes, it's evolving into something much bigger. A kind of synthetic reality feed. We're not just watching memes or deepfakes anymore. We're watching alternate lives, alternate bodies, alternate versions of ourselves. Research from Stanford's Virtual Human Interaction Lab shows that exposure to hyperreal digital avatars, even when we know they're fake, significantly alters our self-image and expectations. In other words, even if we know something is AI generated, part of us still compares ourselves to it. And this is where the trap begins. Because these alternate selves are not just polished, they are optimized. They're fitter, funnier, richer, more confident. And the more we watch, the more the line between who we are and who we should be starts to fade. Here's the dangerous part. Slop doesn't just distort how we see the world. It distorts how we see ourselves. Psychologists have been studying this for decades, actually, in different contexts. Social media. Studies from the University of Pennsylvania found that even brief exposure to idealized images online significantly increases feelings of inadequacy and decreases self-esteem. Now, imagine that, but with an AI-crafted version of you. A version of you that looks just like you, talks like you, but lives a life you don't. There's not just comparison anymore. That's a psychological collision. And the consequence is subtle but very corrosive. Your motivation to improve your reality drops because your brain already sees a shortcut, a digital fantasy where everything is better, easier, and prettier. And why struggle in the gym or build a career or learn a new skill if the digital you is already living that life on a screen? This is where the concept of agency becomes crucial. In philosophy and cognitive science, agency is the capacity to act intentionally, to shape your own life. But when the content you consume is tailored to your deepest desires, when it hands you your simulations of the lives you want, your agency weakens. MIT's Media Lab published a study last year showing that overexposure to predictive content, AI-generated material that anticipates user preferences, reduces exploratory behavior in users by up to 35%. Think about that. The more we are shown exactly what we want to see, the less we go out and seek anything new. We stop exploring, stop risking, stop doing. And that's the scariest part of slop. Not just that it's fake, but that it makes us stop caring about what's real. And it's not just a psychological issue, it's behavioral. The reason slop is dangerous is because it's designed to be frictionless. It requires nothing from you. No effort, no patience, no action, just a click. And each click teaches the algorithm what will keep you watching. The dopamine hits get smaller but more frequent, and over time, your tolerance for slow rewards, the ones that come from real life, real effort, starts to vanish. This mirrors what addiction specialists call variable reward conditioning, a phenomenon also observed, for example, in gambling. And just like slot machines, Slop feeds that tiny instant thrill over and over until you no longer chase achievement, you chase stimulation. So what do we do about it? How do we resist something so powerful and so seductive? My honest answer? We need an opt-out mindset. I wish, truly, that platforms would give us a button to say, no slop, please. No simulated lives, no perfect AI avatars, no algorithmic fantasies. But until that exists, and it will stay here, trust me, we need to build that filter ourselves. And it starts with conscious rejection. When you see a version of yourself that looks too good to be true, stop scrolling. When an AI-generated world seems more appealing than the one you're building, close the tab. It sounds simple, but it's not. Because Slop doesn't just entertain you, it flatters you. And saying no to flattery is one of the hardest things we can do. But here's the truth. The version of you that bleeds, that sweats, that struggles and fails and gets back up again, that's the only version that counts. Because that's the one that you can actually change and live with. AI can simulate perfection in a second, but it can earn it. It can't suffer for it. And that's why choosing reality, messy and imperfect as it is, will always be the braver and, to me, smarter choice. As author Cole Newport writes in Deep Work, and speaking about deep work, there is an episode about the weekend drop if you want to go and listen to that. The deep life, it's not the easy one, but it's the only life worth living. Slop is easy. Reality is earned. And the difference is everything. So, back to the original question. To slop or not to slop? That's the question I want you to walk away with today. It already happened in the past and we got over it. But this is more about remembering that your agency, your growth, and your worth are too precious to outsource to an algorithm. The gap between the life you imagine and the life you can live can only be closed by action, your action in particular. So, when that seductive, simulated version of you appears on a screen, remember, it's not you, it's bait. And you have something far more powerful, the ability to write a story that no model can ever generate. And as a closing, a bit scary remark, but it had to be done. Right now, we just have a reel, a small video, or something that just entertained us for a few seconds. But in a few years, there's gonna be real virtual worlds where you can really be anything you want. And then, if you haven't trained your self-will and you haven't been accustomed to rejecting this perfect image of yourself, it's gonna be tough. So, better start learning now, better start practicing now when we still have time, because tomorrow will come for sure. Having said that, that was all for today. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you enjoyed this vision on this AI world that is coming on us. I know that I've been the first to use it. It has helped me tremendously within the Shower podcast, but it has always been a tool, not the solution to my problems. And I really hope that you've been able to gather that and to understand that throughout this year. And overall, I hope that we will find a way and there's going to be a solution down the line because, yeah, it's looking tough. Having said that, again, if you made it so far, thank you very much for listening and feel free to interact with this content in any way, shape or form you might like, liking, subscribing, sharing with this video, commenting, whatever you feel about my position. And as usual, stay consistent, stay resilient. This was the Shower Podcast and I'll see you tomorrow.